Welcome to The Good Life. Thank you for stopping by. I'm Patrick Harney, and Merry Early Christmas. This will be coming out the week of Christmas. And but yeah, I got a great interview today. A great conversation. Not really an interview. We just talk. We just kind of kick it. His name is Gaven Wilde. He is a young actor who is building his career and has been in. He was in an episode of The Righteous Gemstones on HBO. He also was just in Halloween Kills. So yeah, this is a good conversation, and I think it'll be. I think you guys will enjoy it. So without further ado. Oh, also, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, hit the notification button if you're watching this, or I guess you can do it on listening for any of the streaming services, but hit the notification button so you can be notified when a new episode comes out. They come out every week. So, yeah, let's get to the episode. All right, Gaven, welcome to The Good Life, man. Thank you very much for being here.
Dude, absolutely. Thank you for having me, man.
So, I don't know you. You don't know me. I was referred to you by a friend of mine who I had on the show, Alex Kane, and he had said, "Hey, you need to talk to this guy." And so I looked you up, and I looked at some of the stuff that you're doing, and you're an actor, but yeah, man, you've done some cool stuff so far, and you're how old?
17.
You're 17 years old.
17, yes, sir.
Wow, that's awesome, dude. You were in an episode of The Righteous Gemstones. You were just in the latest was it Halloween Kills?
Yes, sir. Halloween Kills, yeah.
Movie as well. Now you live down in Georgia now, right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But you didn't always. Is that correct?
No, I've actually I was born in Georgia, and I've always lived here.
Okay, because I thought Alex had said something that you had moved, or maybe you moved closer to the film scene in Georgia or something like that.
Yes, I did. I did move closer to the film scene about a year after I filmed. Maybe it was like 2 years after I filmed a movie called Lena and Snowball. I moved sort of near where everything was starting to pop off.
Nice, man. So you're 17. What well, for one, how long have you been acting, and two, what got you into it?
Well, I've been acting for I'll be 18 in February, so I think that's almost 7 years. And yes, ever since I was like 10 or 11, somewhere around there. And I loved watching YouTube videos, and like every other, kid, I wanted to be a YouTube star. So I started making my own YouTube videos, and I think a director came across one of them of a smaller film, and he reached out to my mom and was like, "Hey, like, does your kid want to be in a movie? Like, is he interested in acting?" And I was like, "Heck yeah, I want to be in a movie." So he's like, "Okay, cool. Meet me in Atlanta, and we're gonna have auditions." And went to Atlanta, and it was the most nerve-wracking experience ever. But I went in there, auditioned for the part, and I remember them asking for my information. And I think a week later, I found out that I booked it.
Wow.
And yeah, I just got on set. And I don't know what it was. It's really weird. Like some people refer to it as the acting bug. Like you just get bit by it, and love the feeling of being on set. And that's truly what happened. I just loved being there, and I was like, I want to do more of this. So we continued to just reach out to all types of people and submit. I did a lot of background work. But I just kept going from there.
That's awesome, dude. Now, was that your first audition ever for anything?
Yeah, that was my first audition for. I booked the very first thing that I did.
That's not common, dude.
No,
not common.
Man, I was so nervous. Like I really don't know how I booked it, but
Isn't
I managed to do it.
isn't live auditioning just awful? Isn't it just terrible?
Man, you know what though? I I have mixed feeling. Okay, so we've transitioned into, due to the pandemic, but also, just in general, we've transitioned to taped auditions.
Mhm.
I will say I kind of miss the in-person, face to face, like, because then you get to talk and show them your personality. Uh, and with the taped auditions, like, it's your camera will cut off, or like, I've got like a lapel uh kit, and sometimes my wire or the cord will come unplugged, and then all my audio is gone. So I don't know, there's a part of me that sort of misses the in-person auditions, but they were very, very nerve-wracking as well.
Yeah, see, like okay, yes, I enjoy that aspect of in-person auditions and live auditions. Because I like to try and win the room, because I grew up in a sports background, so everything is very competitive for me in the sense of, I see things as a challenge, and it's like a task, it's a goal that I have to conquer, right? So yes, there's that aspect of that. But when I had started in musical theater, and I just did a show, I just finished a show. It was the first time I'd done a live show or any sort of live acting in 6.5 years.
Wow.
And and I remembered why I stopped it in the first place. And I get the same feeling with auditions. I get this nauseous, like, just terrible gut feeling, like I can't eat all day. I have to just, like, I have to isolate myself for a good 5-10 minutes beforehand, just to like center myself and make it so I don't get in my head, because inevitably what I'll end up doing is I'll get there and I'll have every the scene memorized, whatever, and then I'll
Oh
get
yeah.
there, and then it's like all of it goes away,
Oh,
and I start
it's
second guessing all of my wait a minute, wait, was that the line? And then I'm like, no, I know these lines, what am I doing? So that's why I like tape auditions, because I can do as many takes as I want. And also too, it's more convenient, you know what I mean?
That is true. Yeah, dude, I 150% get it. You go in there, and I I went into, this is right when I got my agent, Atlanta Models and Talent. I just had got with them, and it was a Rooms to Go commercial. And the night before, I had to learn a routine dance, and a song to the dance, and I'd sing it and do the whole
The night
dance
before?
the night before. Yeah.
Damn.
And I did it. I got it down. It's still to this day not as good as I used to be able to, but I can remember like all the choreography. Um, and I get in the room. Well, I get there first, and then they say, "Forget about the dance. Don't worry about it." Yeah, yeah. Don't worry about the dance. It's totally cool. Just freestyle. And I'm like, I don't know how to freestyle.
What?
You know. So
What?
I'm just like, I'm gonna stick to the dance. I'm gonna stick to what I know. So I go in there, and oh my, and they also said there's a new part of the song that we need you guys to learn really quickly, before you go into the room. And I'm like super nervous. I'm like, first of all, I don't know how to dance. Now I gotta learn this new part. Um, and they just totally switched it up on me. And there were like two other kids, and none of them wanted to go first. So I was like, I guess I'll go first. I got in the room, man. There were like 8 people, all sitting at a desk and just looking at me. And then they were kind and sweet, but whew, they started playing the music. I remembered about 2 seconds of the dance, and it just all gone.
Oh no.
But as soon as I left the room, I was like, I knew the dance. It was still to this day. I can probably do it.
Yeah. Did you get it? Did you land the part?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
I completely. That was probably one of my worst auditions ever, and I was so I was so nervous too, because it was the first audition I had gotten with my new agent. So I was like, oh great, now my agent's
Mm.
not that they're that type of person or people, but I just, that's what goes through your head
But at
when
the end of the day, agencies are with actors that aren't like Brad Pitt. They are. It's
I
okay.
I have noticed that yeah, that's probably the truth for some, but I've been very, very lucky with Atlanta Models and Talent. They have treated me um just amazing. But
Good.
I've seen the other side, and I can definitely vouch for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, good. I'm glad they're treating you well. And my agents treat me well too. Um, but they're out in LA.
Right.
And so some of the difficulty is that I'm not in LA. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Um, but I mean, I've known some people. I mean, I was a part of an agency here in Michigan that you know, I remember going to the meeting. I was excited. I was like, oh man, I'm assigned with them. It's gonna be great. And we get a bunch of commercial work and all this. And I sit down and I hand them my headshot, my resume, and literally within 5 to 10 minutes, they slide over a contract. And I was like, and I was like, okay, this seems quick. Like you just met me. And so I remember asking her, I said, I'm sorry, but I gotta ask, why do you want to why do you want to sign me? Why do you want me? She said, well, I looked up some of your stuff, and I think it's great. At that point, I had like nothing out, so don't know what she looked up.
Right.
And she goes, but and I think it would be good, and we're excited about you. I was like, okay. Well, I found out that they pretty much sign everybody that comes to them,
Mm,
and they're very much in the business of numbers. A
right.
commercial comes up and they submit all of their, if it's for a commercial for a guy that looks roughly like me around my age, they submit every white male that it looks between the ages of like 20 and 30
Yeah.
and that's around my height with dark hair, like you know so that was my experience with that agency. But the agent I do have though, with ASAP Talent Agency out in LA, they're great. um but I'm glad you're having a good experience, because it's not often that your first agency that you sign with is a good experience.
No, and actually, I'm hearing you say that story. I should have mentioned this first. I did have an agent before that.
Ah,
And so yeah, here's my horror story. The agent that I was with before, to my knowledge, I don't think that I was with them for like 2 years, I think. And to my knowledge, I don't think that they submitted a single audition that I did. Um, I
did they
think
ever
I
send you submission
no,
reports?
that's how we figured it out. That they never sent the reports back, or it was something along those lines. But yeah, I remember being like just dumbfounded. I was like, this is 2 years of my career that just never went to anything.
Yeah.
And it was funny because during the course of the 2 years I was with them, the only things that I booked were things that my mom had submitted me for. So it was outside of the agency. Um, so that's my horror story with that. I should have mentioned. And that's why I'm so appreciative of AMT, like, because there's so many people out there that are just, you're absolutely right, looking for the numbers or looking
Hmm.
to just not treat you right. It's crazy.
Yep. All they see is a potential dollar sign with you, and if you don't, I mean, it's a business at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like you
Right.
can care about people, but at the end of the day, they gotta make money. So I
Right.
get it, but at the same time, like I've gotten more work for myself than anybody else has ever gotten for me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, but to go back to audition horror stories, one of my first auditions, oh, it was awful, dude. It was awful. I've always grown up being taught that when you meet somebody, you look them in the eye, you shake their hand, you say it's, hello, sir, ma'am, it's nice to meet you,
Yep.
whatever. Well, you don't do that with auditions in the
No.
audition room. And I was in college. It was like my first year of college. This is when I first started film. And yeah, I was branching off from musical theater. And so there was this like this college, or because I went to Michigan State University, and there was this like show that they ran. And granted, I will say they all thought they were God's gift to this planet when this all it was. I was kind of glad I didn't get on that show, but
Yeah.
you know, but I remember walking in for the audition, and it's this super, super dark room, and there's a stool with a spotlight on it. That's where I had to go. And there was 2 rows of, like, the long, like, fold up tables.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There was 2 rows of those, and there was probably like 4 or 5 people sitting at each row.
Ooh, man.
Well, the first row, I went up and I shook everybody's hand and I introduced myself. How are you? I'm Patrick. Nice to meet you. Patrick, nice to meet you. Both, so on, so on. Oof. They didn't like that.
Yeah.
I get there, butcher the audition, dude. Like I in an effort to try and calm my nerves, I tried to portray like a calm and relaxed demeanor.
Yeah.
And in doing that, I think they thought I was high or something, because I was just in there and I was like, yeah, I'm just having a good time. It's great to meet you guys. And they're probably like, oh gosh, this guy.
There we go.
And so I got done, right? And I got up and I went to go shake their hands again. They're like, no, we're good. And I was like, oh. And I walked out and never heard back ever.
Dude,
that was bad.
that's, man, like I 150%, like, okay. So I was kind of team live auditions, in the beginning, because I think the in my early career, like, that was a big deal for me. We did a bunch of live auditions, and a part of me misses that. But the more you talk about it, the more I'm like, yeah, I'm so glad we don't do those anymore, because oh my God, like, I just like you, I was taught shake people's hands, like yes ma'am, no ma'am. That's a big thing. I can't tell you how many times, just because I've grown up in the South, that I've called somebody sir or ma'am, and they're like, I'm not that old. And I'm like, oh, I don't mean it in that way. I just like respect thing. And yeah, it's a different, man, it is a different, like, it's just a whole nother world. And it's very nerve wracking. So I can totally vouch for that. And you're bringing back memories, man.
Dude, I once did a Nestle Toll House commercial audition that I had to drive to somewhere in Ohio, but it was like a 3-hour and 15-minute drive one way. And I show up, and as I get there, I got there like 30 minutes to 45 minutes early. And as I walk in, they were holding it at this like community center. And I go walking down these steps, and the door to the audition room opens up. Somebody walks out, and the person who was calling the next people in was like, oh, you, to a girl, and then looked at me and goes, oh, okay, you're here, so let's go. I was like, oh, all right. I didn't know anything about this. Like, I wasn't given any sides or anything for this audition.
Oh, really? Wow.
It was all just going to be like, they were just going to tell us, So I walk in there, I say, hi, how are you? It's nice to meet you. And they're all kind of like, hi. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then the girl, they knew her. They're like, oh my gosh, so-and-so, it's so good to see you. How have you been? How's your family? Blah, blah, blah. Just chatting up a storm, right?
Yeah.
And so they said, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have you guys do your slate real quick. And then each of you, and then we'll get into the scene. I said, all right. And so they called her up, and they said, okay, go ahead and do your slate, state your name, your height, your agency, where you live, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. So they did hers. And then they looked at me and they're like, okay, you're up. Like the energy was so different when they were talking to me.
Bipolar, back and forth. Yeah.
And they're like, okay, you're up. And I said, okay. And they said, just say your name and your agency. And I was like, all right. And then they said, okay, so now we want you guys to improv a scene where you're eating this cookie dough and talking about your day at work. Like you're a married couple, you just got home and you're talking about your day at work. So we did it, and I made her laugh. And afterward, they looked at her and they said, wow, like that seemed so genuine when you were laughing. Like, great job. And then they looked at me, they said, okay, thank you for coming in. I was like,
What?
okay. And I was literally in the room for like 7 minutes.
Oh,
For a
yeah.
3.5 hour drive for 7 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's all part of it, man.
Dude.
And bigger
Yeah,
and better
man.
things come.
It's all part of it. And yeah, eventually better things, I can say so, having been in it, of good things eventually do come. I know it seems like or will.
They do.
I know it seems like, these auditions are just not worth it, but
No,
I wouldn't.
That's the thing. It's so worth it because you learn so much from them.
Yep.
I don't say them as to be like, oh gosh, it sucked. I wish I never did it. No. I'm glad I did.
No, yeah. Like I'm looking back, I cringe at the experiences, but I'm so much better off having had them. And I really wouldn't have wished it any differently. But the thought of it happening again, like I don't, man, I feel like there's no amount of auditions you can do to prepare for another one. I have the same gut wrenching nervousness, where I feel like if I eat anything, I'm gonna throw up. It never gets better.
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about some of the stuff that you've worked on, shall we? We have The Righteous Gemstones, and for any of I've got your IMDb up here because I want to make sure I'm getting everything right. You got to be on set for Stranger Things,
I did.
Ozark, and then you've got Halloween Kills. So how did that come about? And tell everybody, if you could, a little bit about your part in that.
Yeah, so I really was very lucky in my career, in my opinion. I kind of climbed the ladder. I started with a bunch of background work, and that's how I got on Ozark and Stranger Things, which, by the way, like a part of me wishes I could turn back time and go back to those experiences. I had so much fun on Stranger Things, especially. And I tell you what, those kids are the nicest kids ever. Really? They would walk up to all the background actors and just chat with them. They are just really, really awesome people. I remember one time when I was littler, I resembled Finn, especially with the hair. And I was looking down, I think I was getting some lunch, and they came over to me and they were like, hey, it was Gaten and Caleb McLaughlin. And they came up to me and they were like, hey, Gavin, or I'm sorry, they were like, hey, Finn. And I'm like, I look up and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, dude, we thought you were Finn. And I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm
hey,
sorry.
Hey guys, hey,
yeah.
I can change my name if you want.
I can be Finn if you want. I can be Finn.
I'm an actor.
I'm an actor too. We resemble each other.
Yeah.
And oh man, I just completely blew it. And my mom started chatting with them, and they were super awesome and super kind. And then I booked a photo double role in Bad Mom's Christmas, and it was crazy. It went from background to photo double, and then that's after the photo double gig, I started to get more in front of the camera. And Gemstones was like my big break. I had been in it for maybe 5.5 years, somewhere around there. And I was going to quit. I was like, I was getting like 5 auditions a week. It was crazy. And this was back earlier in my career where we were like perfectionists. We wanted, the angle had to be perfect. If the camera focused and, if the autofocus was wrong, the whole thing ruined. If I was too loud, if I moved a certain way, we were just perfectionists. So these auditions were so stressful, and I wanted to quit. And we got an audition for the Gemstones, and it was something that I had auditioned for previously. But my agent was like, "Hey, we want you to audition for it again because we have more information on the role. You'd be playing a young Danny McBride." And I'm like, "Oh, cool, the guy from Land of the Lost." Um, and So we just looked up a couple videos of of Danny acting, and just to get a sense of what he was like, and did the audition. The audition took us forever to do, and submitted it. And 2 weeks later, we found out that that I had booked it, and this was also right after I had auditioned for a show, and they said I was the director's choice, and this was going to be a big break too. But the day before I was supposed to go out there, they said that they changed the actor. I was the director's choice, and I mean, you're in this, you got it, and they changed it up on me in the last minute, so I was super down.
Yeah.
But it was really for the best, because 2 weeks later I booked the Gemstones, and after the Gemstones, I think it might have been like 4 months after filming it, that's when I got the audition for Halloween Kills. Went in the audition room, and David Gordon Green was there, and we started chatting it up, talking about the episode, because this was before it had came out. I just performed in front of him, and a week after that, I think pretty certain it was John Carpenter that called my mom. We were sitting on the beach in Wilmington, and it was John Carpenter that called my mom to tell me that I booked the role.
Wow. That's awesome, dude.
It was crazy.
That's a great story. So I gotta ask, like, because I've always wondered this, but I've never witnessed it. When you're on set, because you're under 18, right? You're a minor still, so you have to have your parents there, correct? Yeah. So how does all of that work, in the sense of, like, when you were on Stranger Things? Because like everybody's under the, so is there just like bleachers full of parents that are just hanging out, or?
Yes, there's, not only are there the 400 background actors who are all in love with the stars and in awe, and I'm guilty of it too. I mean, but there are all the moms and all the parents and the dads, and God bless the people that handle background, because it must be very just overwhelming, just with the sheer amount of, and because it was kids, their parents as well, and everybody has to be fed. Everybody has to be in, inside, like in a building for warmth. It was very cold, and it was crazy, man. And my mom, everywhere that I've gone, has had to come with me, and production has to pay for not only me to come out, but for her as well.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And oftentimes they will go with actors that are 18 years old, but that look young, specifically to get around that. And I don't blame. I mean, it's because also the amount of hours that I'm able to work is limited because I'm a minor. And with me, I'm like sitting there begging the director, like, dude, this is my happy place. Like, let me stay. And they're like, no, man, I'm sorry, we can't. Like, it's just legal issues. If you're a minor, you can't work over a certain amount of time. So it's a weird process. It's difficult to sort of be a minor in this industry because of those issues. But I will
child
say,
labor laws.
Child, I know, right? God. I mean, exist, but in my case, I'm like, no, this is my happy place. I don't ever want to leave. So yeah.
Is it going to be weird when you turn 18?
Oh, it's gonna be very weird. I'm like, my mom is so upset because this is the last year I think she has to sign off something. I think it's like every year she has to sign something related to me being a minor working. And it's the last year she's got to do it. February I turn 18, and I'm not ready to be an adult, man. Like, I don't know how to. I go to, dude. I like. So I went to an antique store recently to buy some props for a film that I'm trying to do, and the lady hands me a receipt and she says, "Here, sign this." I go, "What? What do you mean sign it?" She goes, "Well, you're supposed to sign the." I have no idea. Like, I'm not I'm not ready to be an adult, dude.
Oh man. Well, dude, there's a lot of people I'm 26. There's a lot of people my age that I know that aren't ready to be adults yet. Sheesh. And sometimes me included. But no, man. I mean, just take, just take it one day at a time. And I'm excited for your career and to hear from you some of your experiences. And you know yeah, dude, I think because I mean, you're such a nice guy. I think you'll be just fine. So what's your goal, like, role to play throughout your career, would you say?
Dude, that has changed so much. When I first started acting, I wanted to play like, I wanted to be somebody like Marty Berg in Ozark. Like this very, or maybe, goodness, Aaron Paul in Breaking Bad. Like, I wanted to be like a very deep, complex character that has a lot of layers to them. But as I've gotten further into the industry, I've realized that those roles they're hard to play. It takes very talented people to be able to maintain those sort of roles. So I have found myself enjoying the roles like Jesse Gemstone, where I can just get on set and I can be a cocky little douche and just have fun. Because that comes off easy to me. Everybody has like a side of them where they're a little cocky, and I just go on set and exaggerate the crap out of that.
You get to take the filter off of yourself.
Exactly. And of course, when the cameras are off, I try to be as kind as possible, but it's like you change into a different person, and it's fun. So I would say the dream role now is probably something just comedic, because those are the funnest experiences that I have on sets, is where I can just let loose and kind of be whatever.
It's interesting because I'm not, like, for me, I'm not one that holds on to a character after filming or even in between takes. There are some people that stay in character the whole time they're shooting and stuff like that. Like, I can't do that.
Yeah,
that's just not me. And so I found that the Ivana Chubbuck technique. So I study with her studio. It's out in California, so it's online. And her technique, she actually has a book, and I would highly suggest this to you. I actually just had her on my podcast.
Oh, wow.
So you can watch it or listen to it. But this book, it's called The Power of the Actor. It explains her technique, and she's worked with Jake Gyllenhaal, Brad Pitt, Sylvester Stallone. She worked with Halle Berry on the film that she won her Oscar for. She's worked with Charlize Theron, all of the big names in the industry. She's worked with Jim Carrey, and her technique, I've found, allows me to dive into those deep characters without. It's difficult. It's work, but I have the templates. I have
Yeah.
have the understanding of the template of knowing what I need to do, how I need to go about it.
Yeah.
So then it's almost like it's like a fill in the blank type thing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely,
And
dude.
going through that technique with those characters is fun. But one thing I've found is like comedic stuff. I have the most fun with comedic stuff, but it's more rewarding for me seeing the finished product of the more deeper
Yeah.
leveled stuff. It's an interesting balance, and I think you do need a balance. You know, if you're
Yeah.
just doing heavy all the time, I mean, there's guys that do that and actresses that do that, but it's like, you know, lighten up a little bit. You know, you're making movies,
Right.
have fun. You know.
And that's the kind of whole or I'm sorry, trap that I found myself in. I would have times where with the auditions,
Mm,
I get like 9 serious auditions in a row. And I think like the comedic auditions were a relief for me because I could just let loose and relax. And I got so caught up in being the character and being focused and just serious and dramatic and diving into that yeah, it's like a little trap that you get into, and it's really nice to lighten up every now and again.
for
um,
sure.
but I 100% understand those are the more rewarding roles. Like when I look at my performance in the Gemstones, I'm like, I don't know, people tell me I did a great job and I'm like, oh, thank you, that means a lot, but I don't know how to take credit for it because I was having fun.
Mm.
Um, I had the time of my life on that set. And it's hard to take credit for just fun. I mean, I put in work, but like it was just fun. So um, I do 100% understand, like with the more serious roles, although they are difficult, they are more rewarding.
But see, I think to your point though, you're like, you know, it's hard to take credit because yeah, it was work, but it's fun. To the average person who is not crazy and psychotic like we are about wanting to be actors and
Yeah.
being entertainers, you know, they see that and go like, wow, that I can't even fathom that. And that must have been hard. But to you, or if they were to try and do it, it would be hard. You know, it
Yeah.
would be hard work because you can't just be funny, or you can't, you know what I mean? Like
Right. Right.
you either are funny or you're not.
Right.
And um, but to you, because you love it so much, and I think that's the bag, man. Like, you know, they always say if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yep. Yep.
That's how it is, you know. But for somebody who doesn't necessarily, who wouldn't necessarily love that process, you know, that would be work to them. So, but keep that feeling of like I'm just having fun, you know, because that'll keep guiding you through, and that'll make, I think that'll continue to make your experiences really good. Um, did you see? I know this is not really on topic to what we were just talking about, but it kind of is. I'll bring it back, but um, because I would love to do. I mean, one, I'd love to do a soldier or any type of soldier role, but like
Yeah.
I just saw the new SpiderMan.
Oh, did you, dude? I need to go see it.
Dude, I want to be an MCU so bad. You haven't seen it yet, dude? Get in. Oh man, get in there and watch it, dude. Before all the spoilers come out, you need to get in there and watch it.
I've already seen a few, and I'm so mad. I'm like, God
Like
dang it.
what? Like what?
Uh, I don't want to ruin it for anybody else who hasn't seen it. Well,
Well, but I can confirm them or not.
okay. So I've seen, okay, obviously I know that Toby and goodness, Andrew are in the film. Um, and I've also seen, do you remember when, goodness, they're recreating the scene from one of the earlier Spider-Mans,
Mm,
the Zendaya, when Zendaya
but
is
she's
falling.
falling.
Yes. So that actually was Zendaya. Because in the trailer, you don't know who it is. But
Mm.
I've seen a spoiler and it confirms that it's Zendaya. But I don't know if she dies. I don't know what happens.
Yeah. Okay, so it is her.
Okay.
But yeah, I won't tell you what happens though.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think everybody knew though that Toby and Andrew Garfield were going to be in it. But
Oh,
but knowing that they're in it, it doesn't diminish how freaking awesome that reveal is. So
that, yeah.
like, but I just saw that literally like that came out today. Well, for one, Spider-Man had the third largest Thursday night opening ever.
Wow.
It made $50 million just on Thursday night.
I bet.
And it was only behind Endgame and the Force Awakens for Star Wars.
Yeah.
But it was just reported that Spider-Man No Way Home debuts to jaw-dropping $253 million, and globally $587 million
Gosh, that's nuts.
at the international box office. Dude, that's insane. We haven't had, like, do you understand like how big that is? Like, we haven't had a movie do more than like $100 million since the pandemic.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't that like a big step forward in the movement towards dealing with the pandemic? Like, I, that's a big deal. I mean, especially because everything was shut down and yeah, dude, it's crazy.
Those are like numbers that were popping off how they were before.
Yeah,
I love to see that. I love to
me,
see that.
me too. Yeah,
Sheesh. But yeah, dude, it's such a good movie. You got to go see it.
man, I know. I need to go watch it. And it's been a while since I've been in a movie theater. I to me, going and seeing a movie, like you got to go watch it in a movie theater. Like that's part of the experience.
Yep.
And that's definitely a movie that I want to actually go to a movie theater to watch.
You have to. You can't watch it at home. And
Yeah.
and what I love to see too is that there are movies that are coming out where they're saying, only in theaters on
Oh,
this date.
yes. Yes. That's
Like,
really cool too.
because that is, I think, is the push, because I was getting real nervous that movie theaters were going to go by the wayside
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
all these streaming services coming out. And when COVID hit, like that would have been the perfect excuse to just say, all right, movie theaters are done, we're no longer doing that.
Mhm.
But there was enough people that were like, no, you need that experience.
Yes.
That's what we
100%.
make these movies for, is for people to watch it in a theater, get the full surround sound immersive experience.
Yeah. And like I goodness, I forgot where I was going with that. I'm so all over the place.
It's all good, dude. It's all good.
Um, let me think. So
Do you
the theater
do you
goodness.
do you like the Marvel universe at all? Do you like that?
Oh, dude. Okay. So all right, I'm gonna expose myself here. It took me a while to get into it. I am not like I'm a very realistic person. Like it's got to be real. If there's too many explosions and gunshots and powers and magic and all that, it starts to lose me. But I watched Doctor Strange, and I loved it. It was so it was real. They even though it was okay, obviously these things can't happen in real life.
Wait, they
They
can't?
may I don't know. I mean
Can they?
I could.
Do you know that for sure? Maybe it's all happening right now and you just have no idea because they're so good at hiding it.
We are in a simulation right now. I mean, we could. I mean, we're aliens, is what I'm saying.
Red pill or blue pill, man. Red pill or blue pill.
Both of them at the same time.
What?
Uh-huh. Both of them. Yep.
That'd be wild. Anyhow, sorry.
Dude, here's the thing. I can totally keep up with you though. Goodness.
You
But
watched Doctor Strange and you really liked it.
thank you. Thank you. I need somebody like you to just keep by me all the time.
I got you, man.
Anyway, so yeah, I watched Doctor Strange and they did such a good job at grounding the movie, I think, and with the story.
Yeah.
That it felt real. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? This was amazing. Like I'm gonna give other Marvel movies, a chance again. I had seen the most of them, but didn't terribly pay attention to them. So I watched Spider-Man. I think it was Homecoming,
Mm-hmm.
and God, that was really freaking good. I really liked that. And then I watched Far From Home, and I loved that. And then I went and I watched Guardians of the Galaxy, and
Oh, that's such
I'm
a
like,
good one.
dude, man, both of those movies are just pure gold.
And the music,
Yes, the music is amazing.
great music.
And I just was like, oh my God, like I've missed out on this whole universe of movies and people and characters, like just because of a misconception, like an idea that I thought I wouldn't be into them because I'm more of a realistic person when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to movies. And that still to this day holds some truth. I do find myself every now and again finding a movie that's a little goofy, as far when it comes to like the monsters and goblins and stuff.
Mm.
But I'm learning to appreciate those things, and look at them in a different light. And yeah, I am definitely now, having watched those movies, a big Marvel fan.
Yeah. Well, and I think what I like about them is, for one, it is just far enough out there that it takes me out of the real world for a little while. Um, and also too, like I love the stories of good conquering evil, you know,
Yep,
and
never
I
gets.
feel it never gets old. And I feel like, there's not enough of that stuff. And, I mean, everything is so dark and, you know, uh, divisive and angry and bitter and all this stuff. And it's like, it's good to have some light, in the world now. And I think those movies highlight that. And especially like characters like Captain America, who is the moral compass for, for all of the superheroes. And it's characters like those that I really, really appreciate. And plus it was my childhood, man.
Yeah,
It was like that was my childhood, was all Marvel. And so to be able to see it come to where Endgame was, like that was a heavy moment for me. And so, like, even though the movies afterward and the movies that are still coming, like, yeah, they're cool, but those first 22 are just, hold a special place.
yeah, and dude, I totally agree. I think they're, and that's another thing that the Marvel movies, made me, or brought to light again, is just, when you're done watching it, you're not scared, you're not like nervous, you're not afraid for the future. You're like happy, like, oh my God, that was a great story, and it's a light movie.
Mm-hmm.
As like the mood. It's classic good conquer evil. It's a good story within that, that box of good versus evil. And at the end of the movie, you're not like terrified, after, how you feel after watching a horror movie, or a documentary. You're not worried like, oh my God, like maybe the government is spying on me. Like, after watching a Marvel movie, you feel good. It's a lightness that I haven't seen in a while, and that was refreshing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, genuinely, I think so Endgame was my favorite Marvel movie until this Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. And I'm a
Wow.
I'm a I'm a big critic with those movies, in terms of like, I can be kind of harsh with them. And this one is the coolest, I think, Marvel movie that I've ever seen. But yeah, man, I'm interested to see what happens with all of that. But I gotta ask, man, this episode's coming out just before Christmas. So what do you do? What are your plans? What's some traditions that you have, if any?
Man, dude, we just, this year, because of the move, and because of just all the craziness that the, in a good way, that the film industry brings, we're really just trying to focus on, um, being together as a family.
Mm.
And that sounds so corny and
No,
so,
dude.
but truthfully, that is really, the main focus of this Christmas, because a lot of Christmases we've gotten caught up in the gifts and the expectations and stuff like that. And now we're just gonna, it's almost like another day, except for this day we're going to appreciate each other and just remind ourselves of how lucky we are to have one another. As corny as that sounds, that really is the main focus of this coming up Christmas.
Man, that doesn't sound corny at all. That's great. And I wish more people took that into consideration.
Yeah.
You know, like one thing, and actually was just in church this morning before we did this. And one thing that the pastor had talked about was about Christmas time and stuff. And he said that there was a study that was done, and he was quoting someone, but they'd said that there had been a study that was done that polled Americans about Christmas, and about 45% dreaded the holiday.
Wow.
Because they were either alone, or it caused too much stress.
Yeah.
Or people feel bad because they don't have the money to get the gifts that they want to give, and all that kind of stuff. And that's where I sit back and I'm like, that's because the focus on family is being lost,
Yeah.
like family time. And that's important to keep, it's important to keep that at the forefront, because, if you don't have family, what do you have?
Exactly, dude. You couldn't have explained it better. That is exactly, like, everything you just said is exactly what we're trying to accomplish this Christmas. Because every other Christmas, like, it shouldn't be something you dread. It shouldn't be a concern of whether they're gonna like the gifts or not. Like, you should be thankful for a sock. If it's something new, or if it's just family in general. I mean, the holiday, really, its main purpose is not even for gift giving. And I mean, so that gets lost too. So yeah, I mean, you took the words out of my mouth with that.
That's awesome. So what kind of projects you got coming up there, Chief? What are you working on, or what are you going to be working on that that you're especially excited for?
Well, right now, I don't have anything marked on the books as far as professional production wise, but I do have a short film of my own that I'm working on, and we're in pre-production, and it's called Primal Taste. And it's about a cannibal who sort of haunts a small southern town, and is kind of the boogeyman of the town. And after a second person goes missing, this detective kind of is like, all right, something's going on here. Like, this second person missing, who is it? And as he digs deeper into the case, he sort of finds out that it goes a little bit deeper than he wished he would have known. He almost wishes at the end of it that he wouldn't have dipped his toe in the water at all.
Kind of opened up a can of worms.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, just trying to get that done, because as much as I love acting, I also I just love entertainment in general. Be podcasts, whether it be music, whether it be filmmaking, I just love all types of entertainment. So just trying to get that one wraps and trying to get it up and running.
That's great, man. You're doing it, dude.
I'm trying, dude. I found that put me in front of a camera and under pressure, I can do that. All right, that's cool. But give me 3 months with phone calls and step-by-step action. I need the and organizing things and coordinating my next moves. Oh, it's a mess. I cannot. That's been the hardest part, but it's been a good experience because it's something that I feel like I lacked on and I needed to learn more of. So I'm super appreciative of it either way.
Well, good, man. Yeah, you learn from it. I'm going to be acting and producing on a project as well that we've been in the process of trying to find funding. And when you have a a $15 million budget, or, $10 to $15 million budget, and and you're an independent film, that's tough to get. You know what I mean? So trust me, I know I've been working on, we've been working on this project from the inception of the script 3 years ago to now.
Yep.
Yeah, those phone calls, the long Zoom calls, the conversations, all that stuff, it gets tiresome, but you learn a lot from it and value every single conversation you have, because you will learn a little something that you didn't know before. Yeah, man, I'm happy for you though. I'm excited for you. Now, before we end the show, I want to get into a little segment called The Goods. So a few rapid fire questions to pick your brain a little bit, and yeah, we'll see where we land, huh? Number one, what is your favorite Christmas movie of all time?
Oh man. Probably National Lampoons, or is that a Christmas movie? That's Christmas, right?
Oh yeah, Christmas Vacation. Heck yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or Home Alone.
The first one or second one?
First one.
All right. I respect that.
So yeah, I think those are probably, but then again, I'm so all over the place, and I'm so indecisive, so that could probably change within the next 15 minutes.
Well, hey, who knows? But on this right now, it's on the record.
We speak.
Those said Christmas Vacation and Home Alone are your two favorites. All right. All right. Question number 2. What is your favorite? Do you have a favorite, whether, dish or meal or dessert that you have on Christmas every year?
Not necessarily on. Okay, actually, during Christmas time and Thanksgiving era, and sometimes I think I've had this on Christmas Eve. I love sweet potato casserole. Oh my God, it's the best thing with marshmallows on top. It's the best thing on this earth. So yeah, I would say that's probably my favorite Christmas dish.
All right. Now, my last question. And so with you being as young as you are, and as kind of anxious and you still there? There we are.
My phone said low battery.
No, it's all good. So with you being as young as you are, how do you stay grounded, and how do you keep a positive mindset?
I think I'm my own worst enemy. And it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. I have a very difficult time with people will congratulate me or compliment me, and I have a very difficult time taking it, because I look at a performance and I'm like, it was all right. I mean, I could have done that better. I could have done that better. And I write a whole list of things I could have done better. So I think, I stay grounded by just being on my own case. And it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. But I'm glad, because I used to, I thought it was my worst enemy, but now I'm learning how to use it to my advantage. And I'm learning to also find the difference between what's me being too hard on myself and what's me actually saying, okay, this needs to improve. But I would say another thing that keeps me grounded is just knowing where it all started, and knowing where I came from. Like I did not have these things. I did not ever, I didn't dream in my dreams I would ever be on an HBO show. So really just reminding myself of where I started from. And then also the train that passes by my house. That's very, that is very wholesome, and reminds me where I started, because every 45 minutes, regardless of what time it is, even if it's like 5 a.m, that thing will come by.
Really?
And yeah. Oh,
every
God.
45 minutes.
I think it's every 45 minutes. At least it feels like it.
Yeah. Well, dude, I mean, I love the sound of a train. That'd be nice, but I'm sure you just drowned it out at this point. But
I do. It's not even. Sometimes it's there. Sometimes it's not.
Yeah. Well, hey, Gavin, I appreciate you coming on the show, man, and I think you've got a very bright future ahead of you. You're a very humble young man, and it's very evident that you were raised right, and also, man, you're really well spoken, and I can tell that you carry yourself well. So I wish you the best of luck, and especially on your project that you're doing yourself. And yeah, man, anytime you want to come on and have a conversation, or if you want to promote any of your stuff or whatever, just give me a ring, and we'll make it happen. So thank you very much for coming on here, man. And I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas and a good New Year as well.
Yes, you too, man. Thank you so much for having me, dude. I've had a blast.
All right, and that's it for myself. Thank you to Gavin for coming on. Thank you all for listening, for watching. Always, it is truly a blessing to have the support that I have, and I hope to continue growing that as well. And as we head into the new year and head into Christmas, I hope you all spend good quality time with your families and friends, and whomever you want to spend it with. And yeah, just enjoy the time, and have a safe and happy holiday and a Merry Christmas. Thank you. We'll see you next week.